while most of our eyes and ears the past few weeks have been aimed towards the budget speech, many of us have missed the news last week that the Minister of Health, Aaron Motsoaledi, gazetted regulations prohibiting the sale, importation, manufacturing of food products containing cannabis. The gazetted regulation states no one may sell, manufacture, or import processed or unprocessed foodstuff containing any part of the plant or component from the genus cannabis. That includes cannabis sativa, cannabis indica, and cannabis ruderalis, or hemp seed oil or powder from any component derived from the genus cannabis. He's talking about the edibles market. He's talking about the oil market. He's talking about the general use of cannabis and hemp within food stuffs. Sounds a little bit to me like a U-turn in policy and the thinking from our government, especially since the president has been talking a lot about opening up the cannabis sector as a form of economic growth. To discuss this further, joined by Myrtle Clarke, Director of Fields of Green for All, currently at the 68th Commission on Narcotic Drugs at the UN's office in Vienna. Good morning, Myrtle. Really appreciate your time. What is the minister actually saying? Is this a complete ban? There are plenty of cannabis and hemp stores that have dotted up around, small businesses who sell edible gummies or edible chocolate bar with cannabis or hemp. What does it mean? That has to all come off the shelves now?
Hello, Lester. Yes, the news certainly hit us from the left field here in Vienna while we were attending to bigger picture issues. This is not law yet. It has merely been gazetted. It came from nowhere. It was a huge shock. It certainly would mean that everybody from Dischem and Clicks who sell hemp seed oil or hemp flour would have to pull these products from their shelves, despite the fact that they are made from non-psychoactive cannabis. And we've had these products on our shelves for upwards of 20 years. So the broad sweep of these new regulations really took us by surprise.
You're right. This isn't something that has just come online since the Constitutional Court ruling of 2018. Non-psychoactive parts of cannabis, hemp have been used, as you say, in mainstream retailers for many, many years now, Myrtle. Has the minister given any reason for why he now wants to ban cannabis and hemp being used in foodstuffs?
No, not at all. Well, as you said, I've been away from home here in Vienna, so I haven't heard to see whether any of the media have interviewed the Department of Health yet. But yes, it was. It's very, very concerning. All we can do is imagine why he's done this. I I think that it's because of the proliferation of those very shops that you
Mm,
are talking about. There's an unregulated cannabis
mm,
market out there,
mm,
and this is not the fault of the cannabis community. This is the fault of the lack of regulations being published on the part of the
mm,
South African government. You and I know that we've been waiting for so long for these regulations. What we think happens is that they go into these shops and they imagine that high THC cannabis is being sold, and we know that trade in cannabis is illegal.
mm,
So if they want to bust somebody, they would have to take these foodstuff products and have them
mm,
tested to see what is actually in them. And we all know that the forensic labs on the part of the government are very, very far behind and dysfunctional. So we think that they just want to ban it all
mm.
so that they don't have to test it. If it's got cannabis in it, then it's illegal. Doesn't matter even if it's hemp seed oil, which is a very, very highly nutritious product and which would be very good for our food scarcity issue in South Africa. So we think it's got something to do with that. And of of course, the ongoing fear and terror about what about the children. Maybe it is something to do with
Yeah.
dacha cookies and all of the stigma around that. I
I,
think that it's got to do with some sort of
yeah.
practical
Yeah,
application.
I will speak from some personal experience on what I think could be the reason, and it's just that if I had been into a cannabis store and I see a tub of, for example, gummies being sold, some sweets, I if someone were just to be around my home and it's not a clearly labeled container, they could be, oh, I'll take some of Lester's sweets. I have um, I have used gummies. I've taken some gummies without knowing the the potency and the potential impact on me. So I could wager a guess that this could be something to do with you have to give the consumer also the information of what is exactly in that product and what the potential effects could be, and of course also to protect people who don't unwittingly want to consume, or also to protect children as well, Myrtle.
Yes, absolutely. And we do know that this has been this unregulated market is populated by all sorts of cowboys. Even if it wasn't only the THC, what if that product contained nuts that somebody was allergic to? That could be fatal. Nobody's ever died from cannabis, but it's product labeling, it's product testing before it's sold to the consumer, its dosage levels, which are really important, and of course, education of the general public of what is a 5 milligram gummy, what is a 50 milligram gummy. But we just haven't been afforded the opportunity by the government to show that here at Fields of Green for All, we promote best practice, we issue a code of conduct to our private members clubs, specifically on this edible issue. But unless the government is laying down the law, with the regulations, we're an activist organization. We can't dictate to people, oh, you have to do this or you have to do that. That's the government's job. And they haven't done this. So people are just doing whatever they like. And it is a dangerous environment, but you can't just come and have hit us from the left field
Yeah,
with this thing and just ban it all.
yeah,
Especially seeing as every single government meeting that we've attended in the last few years, it's been hemp this, hemp that, and how much economy
yeah.
is going to be helped by hemp. So one would imagine that the Department of Health would issue a statement, or the DTIC would offer some comment. But it sort of hasn't been forthcoming. It's just really, really strange.
Because what the conversation has been like over the last, what, since 2018, 6 years, is that a bulldoze effect of government in terms of providing regulations or lack of regulations, and then it's a pullback because the cannabis community activists and businesses said, you haven't spoken about this," and then there's a bit of toenadiging, and then another bulldoze effect, and this seems like this happening. It seems as if we simply just need to have a national cannabis indaba, get around in a peace circle. I'm not going to use the metaphor of passing around the proverbial pipe, but that doesn't seem to be happening. It seems to be, let's bulldoze and ram down regulations first, and then we'll pull them back later if people make enough noise, Myrtle.
Exactly. And we had this very thing. They did offer us the opportunity at the Pakisa in May in 2023. We all sat down. There was 110 of us in a room in a hotel north of Pretoria. And over those 5 incredibly intense days, we drew up a set of regulations and guidelines as some best practice, and we discussed the issues in detail. Everybody was very very excited at the progress of the Pakisa. Anybody was there in person. And then since the Pakisa, just nothing. The last time we spoke to the DTIC, they said, oh no, and the Department of Justice, they said that, oh no, the regulations were out for legal opinion to check whether they were constitutionally sound. And that was many months ago that they said that, and we don't know what the holdup is, but we do know that the Department of Health has not really been that present. It's all the meetings that we've had recently have been with the DTIC. So the fact that this came from the Department of Health, when we haven't heard anything from them for months, is very strange. Yeah.
Myrtle Clarke, really appreciate your all-founder of Fields of Green for Leicester. How will a cop know it's a dacha, gummy, a brownie or a cupcake? Will they have to eat it? No one is going to enforce this, says a listener. Myrtle, really appreciate your time.